Hey everyone, good morning. I hope you had a nice week of vacations. Um, I know it's hard to, well, depending on who you ask, because I know that there are introverts like me who are enjoying some time in their house, but that's, I know it's an odd thing to say at this point, but I mean, I know that's everyone's different. I hope that you enjoyed as much as you could your vacations. I know it's complicated to not go out and to enjoy being with your friends. Even though I enjoy being in my house, it's not the same being that you're obligated to do it and doing it by choice. Either way, I hope you're doing well. I hope your families are doing well. And if there's anything I can help you with, or if you need to talk, um, you can ask me at any point if you want. And that I'm aware that we've only known each other for one semester, but I mean, I want to help as much as I can in your learning process. Besides, writing and such. That being said, we have to get to class.
Now, are we ready for that extra credit?
Extra credit.
That's the spirit.
Okay, let's make this week easy so we can ease into this. Okay, so what we're gonna do today is very, very simple. We have 2 hours, so you have enough time to do the following. We're gonna work with cause and effect paragraph and with transitions and connectors for cause and effect. I'm going to submit and upload. Do you remember the word game that I gave you last partial? Okay, so we're doing that. Maybe it will not work exactly the same because I think it's an image, so it's not gonna be easy to highlight in that. But if you have Paint, you can open it with Paint and do it there. So you're going to work with that, and you're going to, in the same way, classify, well, basically follow the instructions, classify those words into the corresponding categories. And you're going to write, first, you're going to write sentences with it. You can write about any kinds of sentences you want. Use three, four to express cause, and three sentences using three different transitions or connectors that express cause, and use three different transitions or connectors that express effect in three different sentences. And that's gotta be it for like a while. After that, well, I'm going to explain after this video ends. I'm going to explain how to write a cause and effect paragraph. There are two ways, in the similar way that there are two ways to write a compare and contrast paragraph and essay. I will explain the same way, the same thing for the cause and effect paragraph and perhaps essay, so you can take more of what you're supposed to learn. We're not gonna write a comparative, I mean, a cause and effect essay, but I will ask you to write a cause and effect paragraph, which should not be hard because you technically have done it before. Sorry, that was my phone. Um, and that's pretty much it. Okay. For the first hour, just work on the transitions and connectors and on the sentences. All right. I'll be back in a sec.
One eternity later.
All right, and we're back. So there are three ways you can write a cause and effect paragraph. The first one would be probably the simplest one, which would be to talk about an effect, let's say um, global warming, and present it in. Remember that each paragraph has a thesis statement. So you would be presenting the effect you want to talk about in the thesis statement. And then the rest of the paragraph would be detailing the causes or the the probable or possible causes that you attribute to the effect you mentioned in your thesis statement, meaning that you're focused on the causes, not on the effects. You're not talking that global warming is causing the forgot the word. Give me a second. The melting of the ice caps or the rising sea levels. You're not focusing on the effects of global warming. You're focusing on that global warming was caused by greenhouse effects, and that in itself was caused by the increased CO2 emissions, which in itself, like, going back to why we have global warming. So that's one. It depends on on what you want to focus. Sorry, I have Sorry. Okay, the second way, which is also an easy way to write a cause effect paragraph, is to focus on the effects and not on the cause. So using the same example, we can talk about how global warming exists and it's a cause. It has its own causes, but we want to focus on the effects of global warming. So in the thesis statement, we state that we're going to talk about global warming and that it's impactful and yada yada yada. Like whatever you want to say about this important issue, which is a cause to different other effects. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say cause and effect a lot. You can play a water drinking game with this because stay hydrated. Okay. Um. So instead of focusing on the causes, you can focus on the effects. So name a cause and all the effects of that phenomenon. So per se, if you're talking about global warming, effect one would be the melting of the ice caps. Effect two would be the possibly raise of sea levels, and that in consequence that will bring some other effects like the loss of certain ground territories because of the rising sea levels and mass inundations and whatnot. So those are like the two easiest ways to write a cause and effect paragraph. There's another way, which is also a good way to write a paragraph, but you have to be very careful to not be wordy and to actually have a balance within what you're writing and to use sentence variety. You have to be mindful of punctuation and how many times you use a comma, or that to not use only once to not only write a one sentence paragraph, because that is a pain in the ass to read. Sorry for that word, but it just really is. Okay, so use your knowledge. Okay, here I have an independent clause, and I should be using instead of a comma, I should be using semicolons because they're two independent clauses. So that sort of thing, use it. You already know. I know that you already know. Why? Because I graded your exams, and that is something you maybe don't remember the names of, but I know that is something you know how to do. So use it. So now that I emphasized on that, the third way to write a cause and effect paragraph is to address in the same, like equally, the causes and the effects. If we want to write about global warming, to keep it topical, if you want to talk about how the temperatures are rising, the cause is the temperature of the earth is rising, sorry, it's rising because of CO2 emissions, is causing the melting of the polar ice caps. So basically match each cause with their effect. So you have cause 1, effect 1, cause 2, effect 2, cause 3, effect 3. If you want to write a longer paragraph, well, you can do so. I do not recommend it. If you want to continue talking about cause and effect, I recommend using an essay approach and write an essay instead of a paragraph. But I mean, that's another whole shtick. It's very simple, and we'll get to it. So I'll leave some instructions. Be back in a sec.